Hello, I'm Stu Nankerville of Blue Goanna Digital. Today, I'm at the Wilson Vineyard at Polish Hill River in the Clare Valley. The structure behind me is the Sarlinium. It is a concrete tank with a door. Above is a place where one may relax and contemplate the ambience of the valley with a glass of Riesling. We are here today to talk with John Wilson, who was vigneron and winemaker until passing the baton to his son Daniel in 2002. John has since concentrated his energies into writing and publishing railway books. It has been a tradition since 1993 that the Wilson Vineyard has had a different artist each year to produce an artwork to feature on the label of the Riesling. The artist for the 2003 Riesling was Greg Judd. Greg is joining us today. In more recent time, Greg has done some artwork for John's books. Of particular relevance is an impression of the GAN that was used for the end papers of John's 2021 book, The Train to Oodnadawoop, a social history of the Afghan Express. John has donated this artwork to the Pitchy Ritchie Railway Preservation Society, and it will soon be auctioned. It has presented an opportunity to also look at the other works that Greg has done for John's books.
Greg, when you did the picture for the label in 2003, we didn't have much to do with you after that, and then we came out of the woodwork some years later and asked you to do a map for the Riesling Railway, so we'd ventured into a new
whole new realm.
And that's the linear map of the Riesling Trail, and there's 5 of those that you did, and they've been very well received.
Yeah, it's an interesting little project because I hadn't really done maps before, so I used a drawing program to put those together and to gradually learn a couple of little things as I went.
Okay, then we went on to some more serious train projects, and we did Bob the Railway Dog. We followed that up with The Amazing Adventures of Railway Bob, and this is, I think, got to be your masterpiece, Greg.
Well,
the cover for the Amazing Adventures of Railway Bob.
well, I hope that's the masterpiece, but I hope the next one that's coming is a bigger masterpiece.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. Having looked at the roughs that you've done, there's this one which is Ferry and Bob the Railway Dog in the woodpile.
Yeah. Oh, yep. The wood tumbling down.
Yes.
Good old railway dog.
But the main one that we want to talk about is the picture that you did for the inside for the Train to Oodnadawoop. Now, I designed that on the basis that when you opened the book, there'd be this camel smooching at you, full in your face. And we gave you a few pictures from Jeremy Brown's collection of photographs of the old GAN track and made a few suggestions like putting an army tank in there and...
Yes, and squeezing all the detail into a panorama.
Yes, it's a delightful picture, and as an afterthought, we got you to put in a headstone for Bob the Railway Dog.
That's right.
Bob, 1895, and we got you to do a colour version of the Train to Oodnadawoop as an afterthought.
Yeah, that brightened up the picture from being in black and white, I think, that's for sure. I enjoyed doing it and trying to put all the information that you wanted into the picture, and including everything so that somehow or other it would fit. It was a good challenge on that level, that's for sure.
It's got a lot of detail, there's a lot in there, and that's the part that I really love about it.
It's a funny thing, but when I do drawing, I tend to like to draw big, so when I have to draw pictures like that are so much smaller, doing the detail, I don't find it as easy. I've got to concentrate a lot more to do it. I tend to like a big scale. Although that was drawn larger than that, of course, and then sized down, done as a watercolour.
Now, we've had a few pictures for the next book, the Break of Gauge book, and I particularly like Gladstone. And there was Uluru. Now, I think everybody who's watched that video of Railway Bob, when they get to Uluru, it really blows them away, and I think that's where Stu's done the animation, and Pat's in the background there singing ooh-la-loo-la-loo-la-loo-la-loo-la-loo.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to talk a little bit about this one that you've just done for us with Des Smith. You got me right. I reckon that's beautiful what you've done with me.
Yeah, well, to begin with, you weren't so stoked, but because it didn't have any tone on it, you can't really tell what the shapes and forms are going to be, so they gradually take shape.
And Des, we've had a bit of a connection with Des because Des has only got one eye, or more to the point, he's only got vision in one eye. He had an injury in the 1950s in Darwin where he was doing some volunteer work for a basketball court that they were building, and he got a bit of wood in his eye. And there was a chap in Darwin who was the local ophthalmologist, but he was the priest. So he qualified as an ophthalmologist and then he'd gone into the priesthood. So he said to Des, I can save your eye, but I can't save your sight. And so what happened was when you did the picture of Des, you gave him sight in the left eye, and I ran this past Des's wife, and everyone agreed that it wasn't Des.
Had to have their eye missing.
So that you had done what the Catholic ophthalmologist hadn't done, you given him sight in his left eye. So we got you to change that, and that's how I'm happy with that.
Very good. Doing caricatures, the trouble is, if it's a caricature of your own face, you only ever see yourself in a mirror back to front, and people have got a certain view of how they look, because when they look in the mirror, they often look at a certain angle to see how they look. And so when they get a caricature done and it's not back to front and not your favourite position, then they don't always look like you. And it's incredible how many different expressions and things we've actually got in our faces that we can look completely different sometimes. That's why it's always good to caricature people with beards and long hair.
That's a beautiful picture that you did back in 2003.
Actually, that makes a nice little painting. You know what I mean? Beyond a label design.
Yes,
I like the colours in it.
And it's a bit comical.
Yeah, it's called cartoonish.
Yes.
With the tilt on things, yeah. Yeah, they're the best fun to paint.